All right. So you are going to need a highlighter or a colored pencil. Any colored pencil should be fine. As long as you can see the words that are underneath what you highlight, you should be good. And you need Charles out. So we realized when we got to the end of Charles yesterday that there was no Charles in kindergarten, in the kindergarten class. And that tells us that Charles is actually Lori. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at foreshadowing. And foreshadowing, I don't like this. Okay, so foreshadowing, Foreshadowing, my goodness, you think I could spell. Foreshadowing, you do not need to write it down. Actually, I do want you to write it down just so that you know why you highlighted it. So you're going to write foreshadowing, Foreshadowing, and you're going to highlight it because that is what we are going to highlight today. We're going to look for specific places where Shirley Jackson, our author, gave us a hint that our friend Lori was actually a pretty misbehaved little boy. Okay, now I'm going to just try to switch this so that I... Just spin it. How fun is that? Okay. All right. Now, we're just gonna I want you to skim the first page and see if you can find any kind of clue that tells us that Charles might not be the most well-behaved kid in the world.
Well, in the start, in the beginning, it was like my sweet voice.
Okay, he didn't wave back at her, so he wasn't very considerate, which, I mean, he's in kindergarten, so that's kind of to be expected. He wasn't considerate enough to wave back at Mom from the corner on his way to school. He slammed the front door when he got home, slammed it open. Threw his cap on the floor. And said with a raucous voice, if you have a raucous shouting, raucous is really loud, really, really annoying. Insolently means don't want to do what somebody's telling you to do. If you get really insolent, you are trying to rebel. So that's like another word for rebelling. So he's trying to rebel against what his dad wants him to do. He's trying to disobey his father. So if you speak insolently to your father, that's not a good thing, right? I mean, it's not so much that he said, I mean, you guys have like done that before. Mom and dad are like, what'd you learn at school today? And you're like, nothing. But really, you did learn stuff at school. You just don't really want to talk about it. I mean, that's kind of a normal reaction. But do you talk coldly to your father? If you talk coldly to your father, like that's not really something you should do. Regarded his father coldly. Okay, so your job then is going to be to go through this, and you're just going to kind of skim it, and that's going to be good because when you're done with this activity, you're actually going to take the comprehension quiz on Google Classroom. So you're kind of giving yourself this little study help here. See why I did it in this order? So you're gonna go through, just skim it. You don't have to get everything. You're just looking for hints that tell us that Lori is actually our friend Charles. Okay? Well, so like that's, I mean, it's a hint that like he's remembering a boy getting spanked, but it's not really giving us a hint that he's the boy. But the fact that he said it with his mouth full, what did he do? Who was it? Lori thought it was Charles. He was fresh. The teacher spanked him and made him stand in a corner. So, you know, it's just the kind of the things that he does. It's not necessarily the things that he says, in terms of what he says Charles does, because he's really just saying what somebody at school did. But what are the hints? The hints are how he says it. The hints are the little clues that she gives us. Okay? Like he had to think about, okay, who should I say did this? Because I don't want to admit that it was me. It kind of is a little bit of a clue, yeah.
If he grinned enormously when he said that Charles did.
Kind of looks like, sounds like he's a little bit proud of it if he grinned enormously. Yeah, so that is your task to do. And then, so you're just looking for examples. Again, you don't need to read it super, super closely. You have already read this once. You're just looking for some examples. You're not going to get points off if you don't get everything, because there are a ton of clues. Okay, so you're not going to get points off if you don't highlight everything that is a little bit of a clue. I just want you to look through it and mark some things. And that ultimately is going to help you, because right after you're done, you're going to take the quiz. Yeah. Should be able to. Okay. All right. I'm going to stop the video so I can